2 weeks ago, my business partner and I did $45,000. No paid ads, no sales team, no viral content, just a phone, a proven process, and a model I've been building since I was 18. And I want to be upfront about something before I get into this. I'm 20 years old. I'm not some guy that built a business 10 years ago and is now sitting around coaching people on it. I'm in it right now. I'm still cold calling, still setting and closing deals. And 6 months ago, I was doing $5,000 a month. That jump did not happen because I got lucky or something went viral or I found out some Facebook ad strategy. It happened because Cam and I stopped outsourcing our work and started doing everything ourselves. And because the foundation that I literally spent 2 years building was finally tight enough to actually compound. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through literally everything. How the business actually works, how I got my first clients, what I figured out about cold calling that literally nobody else in the space is gonna actually tell you. The exact frame I used to close deals in one 45-minute call, no 2 call closes. And what I now teach inside Auto Empire so you can build this without spending 2 years making the same mistakes I made. This is a full free course, everything I know in one video, so let's get into it. So you might be wondering, like, what even is this business model and why does it work better than literally everything else right now? The model is really simple. I literally just sell AI systems, automations, websites, and ads. I run ads for business owners. What that actually means is I help businesses stop losing money from leads that go cold because no one followed up fast enough, nobody answered them, everything like that. Now, traditional SMMA, you pretty much don't have any say in what happens with a lead after you bring it in. And that's where, I'm different. I actually care what happens to those leads because that directly impacts how much I can charge businesses. Think about it like this. If I pull in 10 leads in a week, right? And 20% of them are getting closed. What's happening with the other 80%? Are they getting followed up with? Did the business owner even answer the phone? So that's why we put in these systems to capture these leads and actually follow up with them on sequences so the business makes more money. It's literally a no-brainer, and businesses are leaking money every day just from a simple voice AI receptionist that, honestly, it's not my favorite thing in the world to sell, but it makes a lot of money. I want you to think about it from a business owner's perspective, right? A roofer gets 20 calls a month, right? They miss 8 of them because they're on a job site. A roof in the United States is worth about 10 to 15 grand. That's a lot of money. That's potentially $80,000 to $120,000 in lost revenue every single month just from literally a missed call. The most simple problem you can give a solution to, a missed phone call. The problem is not that they're bad at their job or they do bad work or, they don't have good reviews. That's not the problem. It's that they are not answering their phone. They're not following up with leads. They have no system to fill in the gap between leads coming in and someone actually picking up the phone and responding to them. So that's exactly what I would sell them. I sell them an AI receptionist that answers missed calls automatically, follows up with all the leads, via text message, not email. No one looks at their emails, so text message is important. And it's just gonna keep nurturing them until they respond. So the business is never gonna miss a lead just because the owner was busy. Business owners are busy guys, right? I'm a busy guy. I own 2 businesses. I know I 100% miss phone calls. My phone calls I miss are not the same as missing a $15,000 roof, but I miss phone calls. I own businesses. I know how it is. So this is something that genuinely every single business owner could use. I also sell websites, run ads for clients who want full packages, and of course that's a higher tier. They're gonna pay me more money. Because like I said in the beginning, if they bring in leads, who cares if those leads are not followed up with? It's completely pointless. But the automation side is pretty much the easiest pitch because the ROI is pretty immediate and it's very glaringly obvious. What I do is I just do the math on the call with the business owner and I show the owner exactly why I'm charging them $2,000 to fix their $20,000 gap that they have. And the reason that I truly believe that this is the best business model for beginners, specifically brand new to online money, is that you don't need to know how to build anything. All you have to be able to do is pick up your phone and call business owners. That's it. That's literally how I started. Like, I had a friend who could build the systems. My only job was to get them on the phone and sell them. And I was in life insurance. I'm sure a lot of people that watch this and are watching this, you probably had some kind of sales job before. All you need to know how to do is speak to a business owner in a way that gets them to pay you. And that's still how I structure Auto Empire today. Inside the program, students have access to my developing team, and they literally at one of the developers, there's 3 and I'm adding 2 more. All they do is send them a DM and the devs DM them, and then it gets built in 2 to 3 days for well under a market rate because I got some deals with them. Student doesn't touch it, they literally just sell. And that's the beauty, again, of this business model. All you have to do is be decent at sales and you will make money. I have had 16-year-olds join and make $2,000 in their first week. That's a video for another day though. The business model for a beginner is super simple. Learn how to cold call, close the deal, hand it to the developing team, collect the money, and repeat. That's literally it. It's the most simple process of all time. The people who make it more complicated are the ones that make no money. Developers, they make less money than the people that actually do the sales. Now, of course, if you're a sales rep, you're gonna make less, of course. But if you run the business and you do everything yourself and you just outsource, you're gonna make a lot of money. The margins are insane. On monthly retainers, you're literally taking home basically 100% margins. Like, these systems don't cost much to run, and if they do, it's usage and you just build a business owner for it. So this is how I actually started, like the real version. Because the polished version does not actually help you. I started trying to make money online when I was literally 14. Drop shipping, Amazon, reselling. I've literally tried everything, and I had a couple things make a little money, reselling, made a little money, drop shipping, made a little money, but nothing was actually like life changing. But when I turned 18, I got into selling life insurance. I was doing like 300 dials a day. It was absolutely awful. I was calling for another man's business, which I did not like. I wanted to be, doing my own thing. I've always wanted to do my own thing. The money was there, it was decent, making around 5K a month, which that's a decent money. It's not terrible. But I genuinely hated life at that point. I was not having fun. And again, it's not because it was hard. Like, it's not hard to sell life insurance. I'm sure, like I said, some of y'all probably sell life insurance. Y'all know it's not difficult. It's a grind. But it was because I was pouring all of my effort into literally somebody else's dreams. So I dropped out of college, and the insurance money was, it just logically made sense. Like, I'm making enough money to where it makes sense for me to drop out, because if I'm making 5K now and then I drop out of school and I don't have school, I'm going to make more money. But almost immediately after I dropped out, I quit insurance as well. So suddenly I had no income, no clients, no real plan, and everyone around me, parents, friends, people from high school, telling me that I was a complete idiot and go back to school, get a job, everything like that. My dad worked corporate at a gas company for 30 years, so you can imagine how those conversations went. My mom, sister, brother-in-law, dad, they all have master's degrees, so dropping out to cold call businesses and sell AI wasn't exactly the route that they had in mind for me. So I got called an idiot constantly, got called worse than that, honestly, and it makes sense. I understand why, because from the outside looking in, it made no sense why I was doing this. But there was one thing I knew from insurance, is I could sell. That's what I'm good at. I could sell. And I knew that if I could sell, I could build something of my own. And I was thinking, AI, it's coming up. Why don't I sell that? The most revolutionary thing that there is on the earth right now. So I just, like I said, dropped that insurance, and I just went all in on AI automations, because I had a friend that could build everything. I still work with him to this day. All I had to do was get on the phone, which I was already doing for literally 8 hours a day. But I did make zero money for months. So what did the first year actually look like, and what finally clicked? When I first started calling businesses, I didn't really know what I was selling, honestly. I was just kind of like telling people, I can automate your business. And they'd be like, oh, can you do this? Can you do this? I'm like, yeah, I can. I had no clue, genuinely no clue. Not really any real pitch nor framework. No idea how to quantify the ROI for them one bit. Like, I'm literally just calling people and just spraying and praying. But again, I just kept calling for months. Called around 1,000 businesses before a single meeting actually showed up, which is crazy. And none of y'all have a meeting show before that. But genuinely, I was not good. I didn't know what I was selling. I had no knowledge on what I was selling. I was just trying to sell, which was my problem. Thing is, I wasn't like frustrated. I knew that the automations were there and that they help businesses. I did not know how to actually quantify pain and sell these people. And I knew that the businesses genuinely needed this. And I knew that volume was the only path to get forward and to get better. So again, I just continued dialing. In the midst of this, I tried cold email as well. I sent like 30 to 50,000 emails a month for a couple months. It went nowhere. Zero sales, not one meeting even booked. No one checks email anymore. It doesn't work, and it's just so easy to ignore. The phone is completely different. You're on the phone with a human, right? It's harder for somebody to tell you no over the phone, especially even in person. I went to B2B at one point. I walked in businesses at one point. That's how bad I wanted it. But when someone picks up the phone, you're a real person. They're a real person. You can have a genuine conversation with people, and that's the most important thing with cold calling. You need to be able to sound different from, the 20 other people calling them. If, maybe it's not 20, but the other people that they have gotten phone calls from, you need to sound different and sound like a genuine person that wants to help them. That's how you're going to get sales. What nobody tells you about is exactly what I just said. It's the most important thing. The goal of the cold call is not to sell. It's not at all. It's to get a meeting. And even more to that, it's to figure out if you can genuinely actually help this person in this business. The moment I stopped trying to close and sell on these cold calls was the moment that I actually started making money. Like, my conversion rate skyrocketed. I went from 1,000 calls to my first shown meeting. Once I stopped trying to sell so hard, I'm booking 3 to 5 meetings a day. Easy. I've also had sales teams. Some were somewhat successful, some were not successful. It's just how it is. At the end of the day, I don't want to rely on other people for my income. If I know I'm good enough to where I can just pick up the phone, dial, 30 people a day, book my calendar out and close them and make a lot of money, why would I not do that? Sure, it's more work, whatever. But those retainers stack. I'm sitting on retainers and I'm not doing anything. I'm getting paid for work I did 6 months ago. The moment that Cam and I, my business partner, took control of our own sales and did everything on our own, setting and closing ourselves, everything changed. Like I said, 6 months ago, 5K. Last 2 weeks, $45,000. And this is all in new business. This is not just retainers. This is new business. You cannot lead a sales team that you do not understand. You have to get good at this yourself. Then, you can start to add people and train them to be basically like mini me's, if that makes sense. That's the first lesson from year one. Now, this is the cold calling framework that I use and why scripts will literally kill you. I'm going to be straight up with this. Scripts do not work. Okay, I do not use scripts. I never have. And I tell every single student I have inside of Auto Empire, throw the scripts away. Here are some wins for people that don't use scripts. Peyton, $16,000 his first month. Nate, right here. Nate made $1,100 in his first 2 weeks. And then Gannon is over $50,000 in his first 2 weeks inside of Auto Empire. It's crazy. And he had not made $1 in this business model for 6 months. Joins the program for 2 weeks and he absolutely starts printing. His life has changed. If you go look at my Instagram, you'll see. This kid's insane. And this is the reason that scripts don't work. When you're reading from a script, you just sound like every other person that's called them. You're never gonna be able to sell anybody when you're reading off a script. It doesn't work. Even with life insurance, you don't go off the script completely. You have a framework. You don't use a script because every call is different. Every person has a different personality. Every person has a different tonality. It's different. And also people sell differently. Like some people, Cam is way more pushy of a salesman. Me, I'm way more laid back. Everyone sells different. You need to figure out how you sell. Get really good at how you sell. What I use is a framework. A framework is going to give you structure, the sequencing, the direction, everything like that. It lets you actually sound like yourself. Like I said, the most important thing is genuinely having a conversation with another human being. That's how you book calls. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build connections with the business owners. People buy from who they like. They might think that you don't have a clue in the world what you're doing, but they trust you because they had a real in-depth conversation with you. That's not a soft principle. That is how sales works. If you go to the car dealership and you have a crap salesman, you're not going to buy that car. But if you have a guy that's very welcoming, very warming, I guess, you're going to buy the car. You don't want to tell him no. You just want to, he's a nice guy. I want to buy the car from him. It's how it is with any sales. When a new student joins Auto Empire, the first thing I tell them is go make some calls. Record them and bring them back and let us review them. Not because I have a perfect opener for them to use, because they need to find their own style. Like I said, that is the most important thing. Everybody sells completely different. Some people are naturally more direct. Some are looser, more just having a conversation. Some are more quiet and they're really good at asking those, painful questions, those really good questions. I cannot tell you what your style is. I can just help you become the best version of yourself. Here is the framework, not the script. The opener, it's gonna be sharp, natural. Sounds like you've called before. You don't sound like a beginner. You're not stuttering. You're just talking like I am right now, like I'm talking you and me. The goal is to get them talking. Business owners like to talk about themselves. It's just human psychology. We like to talk about ourselves. So if you can get them to start talking about themselves and their business, you're in the green zone. Once you have them in a conversation, you got them to bite the bait. It's like fishing. You drop the line in the water, they've bitten the hook. You're no longer on a cold call. You're a person to them. Now discovery, okay, this is really probably the most important thing. This is where deals are actually won, and most beginners completely rush through it. I spend a good amount of time here. I want to understand exactly what's broken in their business before I ever mention what to sell. Again, we're trying to see how we can genuinely help them because we don't want churn. Churn is when a business owner cancels their, monthly subscription, their retainer money. We don't want that. We want to stack retainers. So that means we don't want to sell them BS. We want to sell them something that's going to help them and help them for a long time so that we keep getting paid. I ask things like, walk me through what happens when a new lead comes in right now. How quickly are you following up? How many leads slip through the cracks every single month? What's your average client value? If they tell me that they're going to lose 10, leads a month, that each client is worth 5K, I don't need to convince them of anything. The math does it for me. You're an idiot if you don't buy from me. The reason that I go so many questions deep before I even ask for a meeting is that each question is strategically placed to make the price feel smaller and smaller each time I get there. By question 8, what's the broken process that's actually going to cost you revenue? I'm not selling them anything. I'm just offering them a solution to a problem that they themselves told me that they had. Honestly, if they leave the call and tell you that they want to send, here's my email me the details. Nope, you didn't get them. You need to make sure that you get their email, book it onto your Calendly, and it's on there. You should have text sequences set up through Calendly. It's super easy to make sure that they show up. You should also be texting them personally. Once they're off the call, they're gone. So you need to make sure that you get them booked into your calendar immediately. Okay, cool, John. So what time works best for you? 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. on Monday? Silence. Let them think, let them speak, book them on the calendar. The niches, the offer, and what you should actually be selling, because there's a bunch of stuff on the internet that there's no actual value tied to it. We are thinking about how can we make a business more money. That's the whole goal behind what we're doing, is to make them more money and save them time. Mainly make them money though. Business owners don't care about time as much. It's more make them more money. So when I first started, I was selling to basically anybody who would listen. Like, over time, I figured out which niches actually, make the most sense for cold calling automation services. And it comes down to three things. The owner picks up the phone. That's the big thing. If you're talking to, receptionists, gatekeepers, you're never going to make any money. The problem is very obvious. They have a very obvious leak in revenue. And then a missed lead is going to cost them serious money. That helps you quantify the pain later on. So let's talk about a few niches. Car detailing. This one is what I like to go to if I'm just getting no owner pickups, because most car detailing owners, one, they're younger, I can relate to them better. It's usually a small operation. It's usually the owner and maybe a business partner, and they're used to dealing with their customers directly. Electricians, this is a big one. They make money off of emergency jobs, right? Every time, just think about it, something goes wrong electrical wise and you don't have, your lights or whatever. Something goes wrong electrically, you're going to call them and have them come out immediately because you want your lights on. If they do not answer that phone call, who are they going to? The next person down the line. That job is gone, that money is off the table, that pain is immediate. If they're not answering their calls even after hours, maybe they only want, a receptionist after hours. If they're not answering those calls, it's cooked. They're not going to book any of those meetings. The cost of missing it is very, very obvious, and the fix is exactly what I sell. And then roofing, this is a big one. Everyone knows this one. Each job is 10 to 15K. They miss a call, they just lost $10,000 to $15,000. I've had roofers tell me on calls that they knew they were losing jobs and just they had done nothing about it. It's a very glaring, leak that they have, and it's honestly some of the easiest closes I've ever had. You may ask, how do I find these leads? Well, I have a lead scraping software that everybody on Automotive Empire gets 60% off access to. Scrapes Google Maps based on your offer, uses public data, including reviews, to score each business based on how likely they are to need what you're actually calling about. There's also a feature that scrapes businesses with no website at all. So this is amazing for beginners. That's why I put that feature in, because the way to get your first clients is honestly to sell a website, because it's so easy. Anyone can build a website. Just go to Lovable, go to Landing Site, go to Bolt. You can build them on anything. It's so easy. It's just a foot in the door, and once that client trusts you, you can potentially upsell them and get them on a retainer. And of course, you get a quick testimony from them. It's easier to close people for higher tickets down the line once you have those testimonies. And if you're interested in cold gen, I'm going to leave a link below in the description. So what do my students actually do? This is real results, real stories. And I love talking about this because this is genuinely like the best feeling in the world when I see this. I'm gonna give you real numbers, not fantasy version. All of this is legit. Again, you can see I have like 90 screenshots and so many client testimony videos on my Instagram. Like I talked about earlier, Peyton, $16,000 in his first month. Nate, first 2 weeks, $1,100. Gannon, over $50,000 collected on the time of this video. It's been like 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that he's been in. Gannon had been running his agency for about 6 months before he came to me. 0 booked appointments. He had no appointments even show. Not because he wasn't trying, because he was trying too hard. He needed to chill out. You could hear it on his calls. He just wanted to sell them. He was desperate to close, and the business owner, they feel that immediately because that's how every other person is. Desperation is a repellent for business owners, I promise. We tweaked one thing, the way he was selling. It loosened him up, made him feel like a conversation instead of a pitch. And again, I will keep hammering this in. That is the most important thing. It's a conversation to see how you can genuinely help this person out. He made $1,500 the next day and left with over $7,000 in his first 2 days. Finished his first week at $25,000, and like I said at this time of this video, he's over 50 grand in cash collected. Gannon, all he sells is websites and AI receptionists. He works with a friend who builds everything for him, so he doesn't even use my dev team. He doesn't stick to one niche, he just dials and closes. Peyton is a little bit of a different story, but the same pattern. He's in the Army. He's based in Estonia right now. He DM'd me asking a bunch of questions before he's decided to go all in. Got on a call with him at 3 a.m., happened to be awake. He joined the mastermind, asked a ton of questions, came back 4 hours later, and closed his first client, AI receptionist, and he made $16,000 in his first month. Both of them have the same exact story when you zoom out. They showed up to the group calls, they asked the right questions, and they went in and dialed immediately after. No overthinking, no waiting until everything was perfect. They just went in and did it. And that's the pattern I see with people that are successful in this industry. They're not, maybe the sharpest tools in the shed. I'm sure not. I dropped out of college. I had a 0.9 GPA. But they kept dialing and kept learning and brought the questions back to us, and we answered them, and they took it and they actually put it into action. Learning without putting things into action, you're never going to get anywhere. That's just how life is. That's how business is. You have to learn, then use. Learn, then use. That's how you're going to get better and make money. Not every person gets these same results. I've got Arsenal, who's 17 years old, about to graduate high school. $2,000 his first week. That's good. He's on pace for $8,000 his first month. Messiah, he joined this week. $500 his first week. That's not bad at all. An extra $2,000 a month just by dialing some phone numbers, that's easy. And that's like very, very attainable. That's one sale a week. Tell me if you call 1,000 businesses, you can't sell one person. Come on. But if you treat this like a real business, first client in your first week, if you put in the reps, 100% attainable. 10K a month within 6 months if you show up consistently. 6 months from now, if it's working, you've probably got a small team underneath you as well, doing exactly what you used to do, and you're managing and closing at around 10K a month. That's very, very reasonable, very realistic, and I see it every day. Guys getting closer. So what is Automation Empire and who is it actually built for? I'm gonna tell you exactly what's inside, who this is actually for, and I'll be straight about who it's not for too. Program is built for one person. If you've been running an agency for 1 to 2 months, you have 0, maybe 1 client, and you just don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to throw at ads every month. That is the exact person I designed this whole thing around, because that was me. That was literally me. And the whole premise is you don't need ad spend to get your first clients, nor should you even spend money on ads. There's no point. You don't know how to close. You don't know sales. You need to learn it, especially if you've never sold B2B. You've only sold B2C. You need the cold calls. You need the reps to actually learn how to sell a business owner. Why drop money into ads if you have never sold a business owner before? You're wasting your money. You're just gonna burn leads as well. You literally need a phone and willingness to use it and put in the work. First 24 hours inside, you're gonna go through the whole 4-hour course material on WAP. That's gonna cover the whole business model. Within the first day, you've literally got enough to start calling. And within 24 hours, there's a live training call, because again, we hold 5 of them every week. Process is genuinely that straightforward. Understand the business model, start calling, come back with questions. That's it. 4 live calls every week and a Q&A as well. These aren't canned webinars. The format shifts based on what people actually need. There's a form that gets sent every single week to ask, hey, what do y'all need help with? What do y'all need us to talk about? We actually just partnered up with a pretty big guy too. I don't know how many of y'all know Tim Chow, but he'll be taking calls in there as well now. If everybody's struggling with closing that week, that's what we're going to work on. Wednesdays are mock calls. So Sundays are open for Q&As, and the last 15 minutes of every call are all questions, because a lot of people have questions. Dev team access is all in Discord. You tag 1 of the 3 developers, they DM you, gets built in 2 to 3 days for well under market rate. Like I said, I have a deal with them. Tell your client just 1 week, just to give yourself a buffer, and then 60% off my lead scraping software as well. Discord community, resources, frameworks, offer templates, multiple niches. That's what's inside. It's everything you could ever need. And that is everything. That's the full model, how I built it, what I teach, what's actually possible if you treat this seriously. If you're sitting here watching this and thinking, and you've been about to start for the last few weeks, this is literally the sign to start. Go make some calls today. This is all you need. Not tomorrow, today. The only thing that actually moves the needle is you putting in reps. If you want to go deeper on any specific part of this, I've got videos coming on the exact objection handling tactics I use. Why running ads before you're ready is actually one of the worst things you can do as a beginner. Full breakdown of exactly how Gannon went from 0 to $25,000 in his first week. So subscribe so that you don't miss those. And if you want to come work with me inside Auto Empire, it's the first link in the description. Check it out, see if it's a fit, and I will see you in the next one.